played very well.
Well, hello and good morning to the Good Morning Portugal radio show. Hola, bon dia. Well, this show should have gone out on Wednesday, but I was touring up north in Portugal, in Aveiro, which, if I get time, I'll tell you a little bit about Aveiro. Fantastic place, known as the Venice of Portugal. Had a great time there. That's where we'll be moving as a family, and for the new base of my day job, which is OurNet. So, an interesting show lined up for you today. My special guest is Owen Lloyd Martin, and as you probably know if you've listened before, we're into 2 months now of the Good Morning Portugal radio show. This is episode 8, but we open up with an hour of music, and that's been chosen in honour of Owen's appearance and birthday. I was saying earlier on, before I was rudely interrupted, that this is his second birthday celebration, a bit like Her Majesty the Queen in the United Kingdom. So this is the second birthday celebration for Owen, and we're featuring music chosen by him in the first hour, and then having a live chat with him. Messenger and Wi-Fi and broadband and those sorts of things willing, we'll be having a chat with Owen over Wi-Fi. Fingers crossed for that, but he's got a great story to tell, and I'm looking forward to speaking to him. We'll talk to Michael Herron again as well, and also Katia Lima from the Beyond Lisbon blog, talking about Portuguese food. So a nice, easy-going show. I'm a bit tired. You might be too. You might be a little bit sunstruck. So let's just take it nice and easy today, shall we, on the Good Morning Portugal radio show. If you want to interrupt and try and trump Owen's music selection, let me know. Happy to play tunes for you. We might even extend the music bit. We'll see how we get on. All depends on you, really. This is a collaborative, crowdsourced, crowd-funded radio show, the Good Morning Portugal radio show, with me, Carl Munson. So great to hear from Michael Herron in the flesh. Oh gosh, he's not going to forgive me. I keep making lots of inappropriate references. I don't mean to, Michael. I don't know what strange chemistry is at work, but thank you for tuning in this morning. I don't know if you've listened to both parts of the show as it's turned out this morning, part 1 and part 2. This is part 2 after a crash of the computer. So we're going to play you again later that I found it a very interesting and enjoyable conversation that we had before the show that I'll play again a little bit later on. And I thank you for your contributions to this show and your suggestion of Curtis Mayfield and Move On Up. I've got to make sure the special guest is tuned in before I start playing his tune. So I think we might go with Curtis next. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. The patio door is open at the Good Morning Portugal radio studio, aka the back bedroom. I think the worst of the technical problems are behind us. I don't think you should ever say that though, really, should you? And we do have Owen now, and he thoroughly agrees with your choice there, Michael. Fantastic. We're all in alignment here with a little bit of moving on up. Yeah, so do stick around, enjoy the music for the first hour or so, and then we'll talk to Owen and hear his incredible story about his off-grid journey in Portugal, which so many of us are interested in here on the Good Morning Portugal radio show, and increasing numbers of people all over the world, I think, downshifting, taking it easy, getting off-grid, living more lightly on the earth. So we'll hear more about that in the first person, in the actual experience of Owen Lloyd-Martin in the second hour. But first, excellent suggestion, sir, from Michael Heron, our news, culture and sport man, who we'll hear more from later. Move on up, Curtis Mayfield.
Hush now, child, and don't cry. Your folks might understand you by and by. Just move on up toward your destination, though you may find from time to time complication. And take the trip, though there may be wet road ahead and you cannot slip. Just move on up, for peace you'll find into the steeple of beautiful people where there's only one kind. So hush now, child, and don't cry. Understand you by and by. Move on up and keep on wishing. Remember your dream is your only scheme, so keep on pushing. Take nothing less than the supreme best. Do not obey, you must be forsake, but you can pass the test. Just move on up to a greater day. With just a little faith, if you put your mind to it, you can surely do it.
There is an awesome extended version of that, which is a really, really brilliant percussion workout. The choice there of Michael Heron, you can probably hear aeroplanes screaming overhead. This is Portugal, folks, just outside of Lisbon. The sun is shining, there's a gentle breeze, planes are in the sky. I know not far from me, the massive statue of Jesus, the Cristo Rey, is just down the road, the April 25th bridge. What an amazing place to be, what an incredible time to be alive. With these decades of music behind us, and we are going to be reaching into those decades with the choices of Owen Lloyd-Martin this morning. And I think we have to start from your selection here, Owen, with this one, Tina Marie and Portuguese Love. We couldn't start anywhere else, really.
Hey, baby, how you doing? Wow, it's really been a long time, you know? Remember that night? You remember?
starry winter night in Portugal, where the ocean kissed the southern shore. There a dream I never thought would come to pass came and went like time spent through an hourglass. You made love to me like fire and rain. You
Well, I hope that's sounding amazing, belting out across your Quinta, or maybe you're sat luxuriating in a golf resort on the outskirts of Lisbon. Who knows? The male vocal you heard there, I believe, is Rick James, friend and collaborator of Tina Marie. That's from her Motown album of 1981. It Must Be Magic. Incredible. What a beautiful vocal sound she has. Tina Marie there, Portuguese Love, which has a special significance, I think, when you are here in Portugal. And I imagine Owen loved that tune before he got here, and yes, it claimed that special significance after he arrived. So Tina Marie finishing off there. And we'll go into the sounds of Finley Quaye. Among the other tunes, The Beloved, The Orbs, Seal, Sade, John Martin. You get the measure of the man. Music from Owen this morning in the first hour on the Good Morning Portugal radio show.
Even after all the murdering, even after all your suffering, so you know I love you so. You know I love you so and so. Even after all, I'll let you go on, sir, is the order of the day. And I'll let you believe, sir, is the order in this society. You know I love you so. You know I love you so and so. Even after all, this is my money, y'all. Man just feels satisfied. No competition at all. I just feel satisfied. Them eyes, a gorgeous girl. No demise, uprise. I got to raise it again. Them eyes are gorgeous. I must advance. I don't check for no superficial. It's got to be beneficial. These sonic fruits, sights. These sonic fruits have got 'em moving around, alright. Hyperplay, stepping and rising. Even after all the murdering that go on, even after all, oh no, you're suffering so. You know I love you so. You know I love you so and so. Even after all, you just survived, soldier. And your soul is beautiful. And your soul is good.
Wow, what a tune! Finley Quaye, even after all, nothing superficial, just beneficial here on the Good Morning Portugal radio show. Some Bobby McFerrin now. Tunes courtesy of Owen Lloyd Martin this morning.
got to get out of town. So I sit alone among pine and thought, looking for an empty space, a living and breathing place, a bit of sustaining grace. Out here I bid all my troubles by and exchange graceful lilting melodies with a sightless bird. My unfettered spirit taking flight, telling my secrets to one-sided friends. As I lay my back upon a cool moss tree, looking out towards the sky, I can see clouds roll by, I can feel tension die. And I lay my head upon pillowed hands, the sightless bird sings to heal weariness I may feel, that sometimes may seem too real. Out here I bade all my troubles by and exchanged graceful lilting melodies with a sightless bird. Unfettered spirit taking flight, telling my secrets to one-sided friends.
Absolutely beautiful. That would be Bobby McFerrin there and Sightless Bird. Right, the music of Owen Lloyd Martin we're playing this morning. Speaking to him in a little while, and I think we're going into a bit of an Ibiza suite now. Enjoy this, folks. I know these tunes will mean a lot to a lot of you.
Once upon a time, there was this young man, rough at the edges, but with stars in his eyes.
That'll be the Orb, of course. Star 6 and 7, 8, 9. Incredible mashup of nature. And a brilliant tune. The Beloved now. The choices of Owen Lloyd-Martin, who I'll be speaking to in a little while. I'm noticing on Pure Portugal, Living the Good Life, lots of folks seem to be looking for other folks to look after their places. Have a look. Pure Portugal, Living the Good Life, a group on Facebook.
Hi everyone, it's Katia from the blog Beyond Lisbon, and today I'll be talking a bit about Portuguese food. Some time ago, I was reading an article on the New York Times which made me think of the emotional link that we Portuguese have with food. The text is all about a Portuguese-American chef called Jorge Mendes. I found it amazing that this man, who runs a Michelin-starred restaurant in Manhattan, can have the same feelings towards Portuguese food that I and so many other people have. And it has a lot to do with mothers and family in general. If you've been to Portugal, you'll know that, more often than not, we love food. More than that, we love Portuguese food, which always brings some memories of good times, bad times, childhood times, you name it. I know one person who, when recalling a place that he's been to in the country, will say something like, "Oh, I remember that place, I had this and that for lunch." Personally, one of the things I love the most about Portuguese food is that so much of it is made with basic ingredients but can still taste wonderful. And that is something you can only achieve if you have good produce. Many such dishes are what I call poor man's food. Not in the sense of I only have a few bucks so I'll just get something to fill up my stomach, but in the sense of getting the most out of every ingredient. One good example, in my opinion, is the sopa alentejana. Back in the day, when salted codfish was something the poor could eat every day, someone came up with this soup. The recipe? Incredibly simple. It uses the water in which the fish was boiled, garlic, slices of bread, best made with day-old bread, fresh cilantro leaves, and a few drops of olive oil. If they happened to be making the rich man's version, they would include a few bits of cod and a poached egg. Sounds bland? It's delicious. The fact is, a lot of this poor man's food is actually our version of soul food. Sometimes, tourists will make funny faces looking at certain dishes or reading about them. I get it. But the way I see it, it's all a bit relative. I'm sure it took someone very hungry to think of eating snails, which the French also eat, by the way, but how is that any worse than eating processed food? So next time you're in Portugal and someone offers you pig trotters, for example, also eaten in Spain, Italy, France, Japan, Korea, and I'm sure several other countries, before you put on your disgusted face, think of what might have taken someone to eat it, and then order something else from the menu.
Thank you very much, Katia Lima, who is the creator of the Beyond Lisbon blog and submitting a reading from her blog for us there about Portuguese food. Yes, don't be so quick to judge. Obviously a bit different if you're vegan or vegetarian. Okay, after this, the choice of Owen Lloyd Martin. We'll hear from Michael Heron. And then we'll speak to Owen himself after that. Wowzers, the music is hitting me right in the heart chakra this morning. The choices of Owen. We'll speak to Owen real soon. But before then, and don't be hasty, don't be judgmental, let's hear what Michael Heron has to say about the football. And St. Gareth. I should have Michael Heron on the other end of the line. Good morning, Portugal's news, culture, and today I think mainly sport guy. Michael, are you there?
Good morning, Carl. Yes, I am. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well. A little bit tired after a major research trip up to Aveiro, which looks like it's going to be home for us and for OurNet, the company, which is my day job. But very well, and enjoying this great weather, which I suppose would be, if we have two stories today, the second one would be the weather both here and back home for us in the UK, because they're having unprecedented hot weather. But really the big story is unavoidable, isn't it? England. What sort of week have you had watching football? How have you been, and how are your nerves?
It's been fantastic, and I can't remember. Well, I can remember. I think as a child, I'd sort of locked down all of this trauma from watching England constantly lose and disappoint. And when we beat Colombia on Tuesday, it just felt like this relief that we'd managed to get through and win on penalties, which we hadn't done for 22 years and we'd never done in a World Cup. So, I've been ecstatic, mate. I've been smiling constantly. People have been saying really nice things to me. Again, as an England fan, we're not used to this, especially when you live abroad. People coming up congratulating you. It's been fantastic. And you know, in previous competitions where we haven't managed to get this far, you still watch the tournament as a neutral and you're excited, but nothing compared to when you're still in the competition. It's such a great feeling, and really proud of the boys and how they've performed. Let's see if they can go one step further on Saturday against Sweden.
Well, I take it you've been wearing your England shirt to all your business meetings then?
Well, no, I haven't gone that far, but I will wear it if we beat Sweden tomorrow. Then I will wear it at my business meetings next week, at all of them. I'll wear it underneath my suit and tuck it into my suit trousers. But I promise I will wear it, and I will take selfies with my clients, and I'll post them to the Good Morning Portugal Facebook and Twitter feed as well, so people can see that I'm not bluffing.
Great idea. And what was the other thing about England? If they win the World Cup, you're going to be running around the Praça da Comercial naked, was it?
No, that you misunderstood that one, mate.
Okay.
That never happened. That never happened. No.
Okay. Yeah.
No. And no one would want to see that. No one would want to see that.
I must have made that up in my own mind then. I don't know what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's a bit worrying that you were imagining me naked. I'm a bit concerned. But maybe the fact that you're moving to Aveiro is probably a good thing.
Stop being
I
a
don't
pest.
have to worry about any unsolicited approaches.
Advances. Okay. All right. You've drawn a line there for me, which I'm grateful for. Strong boundaries. I like it.
I'm glad.
Now,
I'm glad we cleared that up. I was a bit.
Yes, I won't mention it again. Now, we were talking, weren't we, about the whole thing about the country, as in the UK, getting behind the national team, and this phenomenon of how that works or hasn't worked for England for many decades, and the sort of cynicism and the apathy and the anger and resentment actually sometimes. And we were thinking of a threshold, weren't we? We hadn't got a name yet, but do we call it the Southgate threshold? Because this is like St. Gareth, isn't it, who's brought something to the game here. Is it the Southgate threshold? Have we crossed the line here?
I think so. I think this is going to have a huge impact on the culture of the way that the English national team and maybe this next generation of players are perceived by fans and the media. Because I think in the past, because there was a boom, wasn't there, in the 90s, and you know it's continued until today, where players have been getting paid extortionate amounts of money. So it's not like the old days in the 60s where you'd see players and fans drinking together in the pub because their salaries weren't that different. I mean, obviously, footballers were paid well and better than the average Joe, but there wasn't that huge difference in income. And obviously now that's happened. So a lot of resentment happens when England especially don't perform, and fans say the usual thing of, oh, they're just a bunch of mercenaries, they get paid a lot of money, they care more about playing for their club than their country, and we hear this sort of constant rhetoric and narrative repeated over and over again. With Southgate, and you're right, not just Sir Gareth Southgate, Saint Gareth. I think what he's managed to achieve is just take a lot of the egos and make the atmosphere a lot more humble, because he's such a humble guy, and I think that's rubbed off on the players. I think he's also picked a very young squad, with the exception of maybe Harry Kane, who's earning a lot of money. None of the other players are earning, the sort of extortionate amounts that other players in the Premier League earn. And even with Harry Kane, I think he's quite a humble guy as well. So I think there is this shift, and it's why I think the country has got behind the team so quickly, is because of Gareth and a lot of the things that he's done visibly in public, his body language with the players, the fact that Fabian Delph had a baby and he sent him home and told him that family is more important than football. So I thought that was a lovely thing, and it humanises them, and we can all relate to that.
Yes.
So obviously the team is performing, and that's important. But I think we're seeing a bigger shift, and I hope it continues, and I hope it has an impact. And I hope these young English players realise how important it is for fans to feel connected with them, and it's been great to see.
Yeah, it has, isn't it? And I think it is a shot in the arm for the Brits, because the government, and you could, I don't know, describe this as quite a cynical move, but there will be some Brexit discussions and announcements today, just before the big game against Sweden. It's quite interesting timing, that, isn't it?
Yeah, that's obviously been done on purpose, and I don't blame them for that. They're just sort of trying to hide it amongst the euphoria, and I'm waiting to see when politicians start jumping on the bandwagon of this success, which is always really cringe when that happens, because I don't think it should mix. It has nothing to do with politics at all. Well,
arguably Corbyn has done that, hasn't he? He's called for a public holiday should England win the World Cup.
Yeah, and I think it's okay to do it afterwards, maybe. But I think saying it now, it just comes across really I don't like it. Some people might say, okay, it's good because he's showing that he's a fan, and what a great thing to suggest. So we all have a day off. But I'm maybe a little bit more cynical than that. I just don't like it. I think politicians should stick to politics, and football should only be discussed by people in the pub and journalists. And maybe in sort of cultural type programs, but not politics. It has nothing to do with politics.
Fair enough. And what we could also do here on the Good Morning Portugal radio show is call for a Portuguese public holiday if England win, because I think that would add to there's at least one holiday a month here, isn't there? We've discovered, or I'm discovering. So we could add another one. I'm sure the Portuguese would have no problem with that at all.
Probably not. I have to admit, actually, one of my clients did something very nice. So they allowed all of their employees to watch every Portugal match, and because they did that, they did the same for their other employees from other nationalities. So there was a couple of Germans there, and they allowed them to watch the game on a screen in one of the rooms. So that was really nice. They extended it to their entire workworkforce. So I think that's really good. Yeah, I wouldn't see that happening in other countries. Maybe we can convince. Maybe I can convince my clients anyway that. So if you're listening, if England win the World Cup, don't try and reach me on Monday, the Monday after,
and think about having a public holiday. So yes, okay. Yeah. Down to business then. How are you feeling about the game itself tomorrow?
Well, I think out of all the 8 countries, so the 7 countries other than England that are left, I think if I could choose any of them to play, it would be Sweden, probably. No disrespect for Sweden, but just because Russia are the hosts. Croatia have, played very well, convincingly beaten, some big countries. Uruguay are very dangerous. France, obviously, as well. Brazil, Belgium as well. So I think it's a great opportunity for us to progress. However, Sweden are a very difficult team. They in qualifying, they beat Italy and qualified at the expense of Italy. They obviously knocked out some big countries as well in this tournament. So we have to be extremely careful. But I think Gareth and the players, I think they are prepared for that. And they're not going to be, sort of stupid and overly confident, which I think will be good. But I've got a sneaky feeling that we're going to comfortably win. I think we're going to get a couple of early goals and comfortably win and settle down and play some good football. And I think maybe even see us winning 3-0.
I like it. I love it when you give a confident prediction like that. And do you think the players will be feeling the same now, given the run that they've had and where they are in this competition now? Is that there will be an extra added boost of self-belief and self-esteem?
Yeah, I think so. I think what's interesting is if we'd won 1-0, so if Colombia hadn't equalised at the end of the match, and it hadn't gone to extra time and penalties, the players wouldn't be as united as they are now, and the country wouldn't be as behind the players as they are now. So I think, in retrospect, it was a really good thing that it happened that way, even though England struggled a bit in the second half and then in extra time. But, it's normal. When you're 2 minutes away from going through and then you concede a late goal, and then you have to play 30 extra minutes of extra time and then penalties, it does affect you mentally, like it would affect anyone mentally. So the fact that they managed to recover and then win on penalties, I think they will be really confident that they can beat Sweden, and they won't be afraid psychologically that if it does go to extra time again, there won't be this fear hanging over them that they can't win on penalties because they did it on Tuesday.
Fantastic. And a wonderful karmic completion there. Gareth, all is forgiven, right, when it comes to the famous penalties of the past and of the last week?
I think that was, for me, that was the most emotional part of Tuesday, is the fact that I felt that he'd really laid the ghost of Euro 96. And I felt like we all had as well, because that still played on a lot of our minds, I think. And, psychologically it does affect everyone. And then there's this fear that's now gone. And whatever happens now, job done. We all said before the tournament, if we could get to the quarterfinals and just win one knockout match, then we'd all be pleased. So even if we don't win on Saturday, I think this team has a lot of potential and can do well in the future. But we've got the best opportunity that I can remember to get to a final, because if we beat Sweden on Saturday, we'll play the winner of Croatia-Russia on Wednesday, so to get to the final. So we're never going to have a better opportunity than that, I think. So let's do it. Let's take the opportunity.
What a fabulous note to end on there. That's your motivational speech to all listening. And to me, I felt a little a ripple of energy up and down my spine there, Michael. Thank you very much for that. And you're 3...
Well, luckily for me, just your spine.
Luckily for you, what? Say that again.
Just your spine, I hope.
Oh, my word. 3-0, says Michael Heron. And we should really leave it there. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Carl.
That I intend to stop living. I won't pretend I'm good at forgiving, but I can't hate you, though I have tried. still really, really love you. Sitting and wasting my time would be like waiting for the sun to rise. It's all too clear. Things come and go. Sitting here waiting for you would be like waiting for winter. It's gonna be cold, there may even be snow. I still really, really love you. Love is stronger than pride. I still really, really love you. Love is stronger. I still really love you. Love is stronger than pride.
Now, we really couldn't have chosen a better tune than that. Well, Owen chose it, and I wanted to play that because I think that is an anthem for the England team. Love is stronger than pride. And what a different feeling it is to know that people are loving the team and loving those young players, and maybe even loving our opponents and the other fans, rather than this sense of pride, anger, resentment and all that kind of stuff that seems to be not a very nice feature of the game, and there's kind of residue that it's left for people. Let me tell you as well that if you hate football, if you think it's best not to watch it, if you think that it's full of hateful people, think again, says Danica Appeline, a friend of mine on Facebook, and in real life. I do have real friends as well. And she has written a fantastic blog piece, which I'll conclude the show with. Basically, it's about St. Gareth and that Southgate threshold that I was talking about with Michael just before Sade there, and us playing Love is Stronger Than Pride. But now is the moment in the show where we're going to attempt to speak to Owen, whose music choices we've been playing. So let's press that button there and see if the phone rings, or we're going to use Messenger, and let's see if he's at the other end of the line. It's exciting. It's exciting unless he doesn't answer. Oh, he has answered. Owen, how are you doing?
Hey, Carl, how you doing?
I'm very well, and you?
I'm very, very well. Very, very well. I've stopped for the day.
It's put a bit of a spanner in your works, this birthday show in your honour, isn't it?
Purely because of the heat. It's getting a bit warm for me to be digging.
Oh,
digging
I
holes.
see. Yes, where are you and what's your temperature there?
At the minute, it's looking at... Well, in the shade, it's showing 26.
Good heavens.
I'm up in Arachella, which is near Pedregal Grande.
Fantastic, fantastic. You, I think, are living the dream that many people are tuning into on the Pure Portugal Living the Good Life Facebook group, and to some extent the Good Morning Portugal radio show. Thanks, I really appreciate you joining us and talking a little bit about that. How did you get started? Was there a moment? I speak to a lot of people about this transition from, their old life, if you like, and their new life in Portugal. And often there's a defining moment when they say, I've had enough of this, I'm off to Portugal. Did that work like that for you as well?
Yeah, it was my health, really. I can move. I'm just going to move place because I was sat in the sun before, but my neighbour turned up with his rather loud diesel van.
Oh, I see.
Him. I can now sit back round in the sun and be a bit more comfortable.
Yeah, because this could be a nice leisurely chat, couldn't it? Really loved your music. Thank you very much for that. Beautiful tunes. And we can play a few more of those. Let's pepper our conversation with those tunes.
So I was diagnosed with IBS and also Crohn's disease, and my wife was a nurse of 25 years, and she saw things changing within the NHS. I myself could see other things changing, and in particular, going to visit a doctor one morning and being told that I had to have a lump removed, and being told about the surgery and how unnecessary it was. I looked at alternative methods and actually made up a poultice and removed the lump within 7 or 8 hours. Went back to the doctor, and when I explained to the doctor what I'd done, she actually questioned me and asked me, "What's a poultice?" So that kind of made my mind up to think that, I'll start curing myself. So, I've not looked back since. I've been using a lot of natural medicines to cure myself. I'm a lot better. I've put on a lot more weight than I have done in years, and it's because of the vitamin D. It's because of the people here in Portugal, and just the way that life is. Everybody loves one another. You were talking about love in football earlier on. Yeah. And it is people showing the love to you here in many different ways, and you can't beat that.
It's so true, isn't it?
Everybody needs love in their life.
Yeah, vitamin L, I suppose you could call it, couldn't you, as well as the vitamin D.
That's it. And maybe I'll change my Facebook profile picture to vitamin L.
Yes, well, I'm sure we're not the first people to say that, but let's pretend we are. And I really like that, and I think it's so true what you're saying. It's the simplicity of this as well, isn't it? And I was wondering how it is that people can eat and drink so much here, and and how they attenuate that in some. And I think the sun has got a lot to do with that. I think you're absolutely right about vitamin D. It makes a massive difference to people, doesn't it? And the further north you go in Europe, of course, the harder that gets, and people staying inside and all that sort of stuff. But the outdoor culture is really good for the health, as you've obviously found.
Oh yeah, definitely. I spend all my time outside. It's here for us all to enjoy. There's no point in being stuck in between. Whether they be wooden or concrete walls. There's a whole world to see out there in front of you, right on your own doorsteps. And the pleasure that I get from the stuff that I grow, from the stuff that I eat in particular. It just shows. You can't fault that. You cannot. You can't even put a price on it, No,
you can't, and it's hard to tax as well, isn't it? Which is another great thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe they'll find a way. So you mentioned concrete and wood there. It sounds like you've done quite a lot of work to your site, and this is all part of realising your dream. What did you move into, and what was your kind of process for making the leap from England to here?
Actually, the property was advertised on Pure Portugal. Years ago when we were looking, well, not years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago when originally looking at places in Portugal, but it was way out of our price, so it was fortunate that when we came back again, nearly, over a year ago, and this was on at a lower price. And when we came into the building itself, it had everything here, and when I say everything, I mean everything was left. There was furniture here, which is good for us because of waiting for our stuff to come from the UK that was in storage. So a lot of the furniture was here. And the house itself, it's got its own ground source heating. It's obviously the water is solar powered, and it's got its own well, own well and pump. So literally, the automatic thing for us to do is get solar and switch off and come off the grid.
Oh, brilliant! And how easy is that?
Not so easy. I mean, I'm still in consultation with EDP about my situation here, but hopefully that's going to be resolved within the next couple of months. But it's. Don't know. I look around because, like I say, it's very, 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 very fortunate when we found this. I mean, there's an orchard with plenty, pears, apples, peaches, apricots, different kinds of nuts. We've got God knows how many variety of oranges and lemons and limes, kaffir limes, herbs and spices. And I spent time as a cook, so for me coming to and finding a place like this is a dream.
Oh, it sounds so great. Let's play another one of your tunes, and then maybe we talk a bit about how you turn that food into, or turn your raw ingredients there, your lovely, fresh, natural raw ingredients into some of the food that you've made with your experience as a chef. What would you like to hear? Because I didn't play any of your John Martin.
Head and Heart.
Is that what you'd like to hear?
Yeah.
All right, let's play Head and Heart, and we'll talk a little bit more after the sweet sound of John Martin.
Okay.
There's just no way to say how much I love you. You never made me cry, and that's just fine. Only got my feet a bird above you. You know we all get scared from time to time. Love me with your head and heart. Love me from the place it starts. Love me from your head and heart. Love me like a child. There's just no way to play the things I'm feeling. No way to tell you all the things you mean. Every day I only feel like stealing away to where I know I can be clean. Love me with your head and heart. Love me from the place it starts. Love me from your head and heart. Love me when I'm wild. Laying down the ways to say I need you. Scared of looking tall and feeling small. Running through the days I have decided. Scared of being wrong, and that's it all. Love me with your head and heart. Love me with your very start. Love me from the head and heart. Love me like a child. There's just no way to say how much I love you. You never made me cry, that's just fine. Only got my feet a bird above you. You know we all get scared from time to time. Love me with your head and heart. Love me from the very start. Love me from your head and heart. Love me like a child.
Wow. John Martin there. It'd be rude to talk over that guitar playing, wouldn't it?
It would.
And I did fade the mic up. I thought I'd muted us both. And we had a remix there of John Martin and the Bird Life from your place. It's incredible. Yeah. They could hear it. I was thinking, like on the Orb track that we played earlier on, and there's bees and birds on that. And I just faded your mic up, and I thought I'd muted it, but I could just hear his birds. And I was thinking, did John Martin put that on the original? Or is that must be Owen's place? So the Bird Life is extraordinary there, by the sound of it.
It is. My alarm clock in the morning, well, it hasn't been for a couple of days, actually, is a European eagle owl.
Really?
I normally hear him, and that's normally my wake-up call. Around about 4:30, I hear it.
Right.
So I generally tend to get up and start coming alive with everything else,
Oh, people are really going off you now, because he's living this rural idyll, woken by an eagle.
I do 1 or 2 Facebook Live videos. I did quite a few on my birthday because I had a really, really emotional day. It was really good. But like I always say to my friends and everything, this place is not just for me. I want to share it. It's a ridiculous amount of space that's around that I have for myself, and I don't want to keep it to myself. It's one of those, those kinds of things that I'd like to prepare for people here and just come and enjoy the scenery. It's really amazing. Yeah,
well, that's a really kind invitation, and if possible, we could just maybe give some details out as we conclude our interview. But I was hoping to ask you about your combining of your wonderful natural ingredients there into food that you've been making. And I saw the other day an ice cream that you'd made and a beautiful bit of baking that you'd done. What sort of things are you managing to create from this incredibly abundant garden of yours?
Well, I've got, like I say, the wild strawberries and the peaches and the apricots. So all I really did with that is I have loads and loads of cookery books. My friends will tell you that, but they're all as a reference for me. So I tend to use a lot of natural ingredients as well. So rather than using milk, I use coconut milk or an almond milk, something like that. And then I've got the luxury of having an ice cream maker, so I'm literally just blending. But I'm looking around the elderberries and the elderflower. I think it's about 30 litres of the elderflower champagne, and that's because it's such refreshing, and it's not really that alcoholic. So it's a nice thing to give to people when they first arrive.
Yeah.
It's a refreshing drink as well, and it's from the garden. It's a conversation piece as well.
Yeah.
And that's how I want to turn it. With the amount of fruit and hopefully all the veg that I'm going to produce here, is that anything that's from here will be actually available for people just to go out and pick for themselves if they want, and I'll cook it. It's a long-term thing for me, and I'm just starting. And just not even seen Portugal yet, and I'm looking to do that. I've done myself a little GoFundMe page to try and get myself a little motorised mountain bike to get around, because I don't have any transport. So I just want to make this place very, very productive, because it was before we arrived.
Amazing. Let's share the love a bit then with you and people who are listening who love the sound of your place, and they might be interested in getting you more mobile so you can see a bit more of the country. How do we find out more about the sponsoring your or funding your electric bike?
Well, I've got a GoFundMe page, or you can find me on Facebook. And even I put a little kind of a blog page there. It's at Arishella Farm, and that's on Facebook as well. And it's just from time to time I'll put photos of the garden, how it's blooming, and obviously photographs of stuff I've produced, cooked really, that I picked from the garden. And generally, I do ask you. I'm no expert here, so I'm learning. I'm in a new country, so I want to grow a lot more, authentic veg and everything else, and just ask people for help and advice from time to time on that page as well. So
terrific.
You can always catch me there, drop me a line, anything at all. Come up and pay me a visit.
You can hear how open-hearted this man is. How do we spell Arishella?
ARROCHELA.
ELA, fantastic. All right, that's really wonderful. I need to ask you as well.
N350 after the ICA after Edrigo.
Directions as well, fantastic, Owen. Now I need to ask you, because people are sort of reflecting on this in their mind. This is a widely held dream of people. It's what Pure Portugal, living a good life, and Good Morning Portugal radio show is all about. Is this this shift away from a way of life that's arguably not going to really work, not going to be sustainable for us human beings on this planet.
Well, I'm very open, but the place, it's quite, there's quite a fair few rooms for me to fill here. So anybody that's even thinking to come to Portugal to to buy a property or purchase a property, come stay with me. You've got a nice little base here. Obviously, if you have your own transport, you'll be able to get about at your leisure then, and not have to worry about
wow,
all the stresses and strains that come with moving.
Yeah, well, and what I wanted to ask you is what a typical day looks like, because there is the idyllic, romantic upside.
What a typical day looks like?
Yeah, well, I mean, there is the hard work as well as the romantic part of it, isn't there? And it'd be interesting to hear what your day looks like, because I think when we spoke before, you said you got up at 5 in the morning. I
do get up at 5 in the morning because seriously, by like this time of the day, even half an hour earlier, it gets really, really warm, and it's quite a microclimate up here as well. I grow different things to some of my neighbours just across the way or even just down the road. So that's good because we do swap between one another. But I get up in the morning and literally it's just to check, see if any of the fruit are ripening, whether they need picking, just general weeding, because it's a big space. If we had live TV, I'd be able to show you the space that I'm dealing with by myself here. But literally, I get up in the morning and just check everything's growing right, and start little jobs that I've been meaning to do. There's an awful lot. I've got a task that I'd put to anybody to come and spend a week here, but the task is to document all the plants and all the flora and fauna I've got in there, because it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. I'll put a couple of photographs on people. Well, you'll be able to have a look on the Irish Shell Farm page.
Fantastic.
Of the space that I've got here, but yeah, it's like I say, I wait till about 11 o'clock until it gets warm, and then I'm then in the kitchen if I fancy making something or whatever else. But probably around about 3:30, 4 o'clock, I'll go out again, make sure everything's watered. I'm fortunate that there was an irrigation system fitted, so it's only a matter of turning on taps for me. But I'll still go around and check everything, and then 9 times out of 10, I just sit and listen to the wildlife, watch the wildlife that's about, But yeah, it's nice. It's nice when I can have the times. I mean, the best times of the morning, because we've got the lake quite near us, so the mist is over the lake.
Wow.
In the morning, so you can see that when that clears and you just got up, the blue sky that I'm looking at now. One or two beautiful fluffy clouds. But yeah, you can't help but
I'm feeling it.
Appreciate what you've got,
I'm feeling it. Now, for people who are considering this sort of move, obviously there's the human beings are very idealistic, aren't they? And we don't often think of I guess there are many pessimists among us who might think a lot about the downside. Yeah. But what should people be aware of? What did you encounter that you weren't expecting on this journey?
I don't know. I think it's not real. I'd say we were quite fortunate that we bought this property and it wasn't Portuguese owners. So we came to look at the property on the Tuesday. We put an offer in on the Wednesday. It got accepted on the Friday, and we moved in the following Tuesday.
You can't do that in the UK.
It's really, really quick. So when I've spoken to people in the UK, and I know I've messaged 1 or 2 people that are listening in from the UK today, and I've said to them that you really have to. It's like with anything nowadays, you have to do your research and make sure that everything is right, because there are pitfalls if you don't see it. Habitation licenses and all the rest. It's not as easy. Very, very fortunate to find this place, but it's not as easy. It can be hard. You've really got to make sure that everything is right. Find yourself a good lawyer that can speak both English and obviously Portuguese being the native language. But make sure that everything's done before you fully commit. Yeah,
and I suppose there's me kind of erring on the side of pessimism there, but also what I guess needs to be kept in mind is stay open to the magic as well, right? Because that would appear to have happened for you too. Yeah.
I mean, it's my health, as I said, is tenfold, and it's one of the things that I used to say when I was a trainer is that if you've not got your health, what else matters? you know, and this place has brought it to me from the help and support I've had over the last few months in my own personal life, and just meeting people and how open people are. You know, if you're going the extra mile, they know you're going that extra mile, and if you're struggling, they'll help you.
Yeah. Isn't that a lovely thing to realise? Because, you know, people are often about the gloom and doom in the world, and that's understandable as well, but it's so lovely to hear your side of it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a sense, and I think that's the other thing as well that's attracted me to Portugal is there's still a sense of community, which I think which is kind of getting lost, which has been lost for a long while. I mean, hopefully they'll be reviving it after having the revival of the 1976 summer. Yes. So, you know, and England in the football as well. So hopefully that'll bring communities back together and start thinking as communities rather than individuals.
Yeah,
but,
that's a great thought.
That's me stopped.
No, that's like fair enough, and I think that's our future, isn't it? Is about love and connectedness rather than the other direction of travel. And you seem to have found it there. Let's play another one of your tunes then. We got Seal to choose from, Caro Emerald, Talvin Singh, which I've not heard, Bjork as well. What would you like to hear next?
I'd like to hear Seal, and there's a particular reason. I used to present karaoke's. I had karaoke guys working for me as well, but I used to sing Violet by Seal because my eldest daughter Amelia, that's her middle name. Oh, lovely. So that's what Violet means to me.
Fantastic. Let's play that and then speak a bit more afterwards and give people details and figure out how people might visit you and what you might look for from the rest of the community. So let's hear Seal now.
Okay.
Change the chair and seem to think that's alright. I understand you need a change. When you make that change, don't look to see I'm alright. Now that I look at you in different light, about you. That's alright. I understand you need a change, and when you make that change, then the world will elevate you. And if I told you then that I could cry, would you take my tears and watch the sunrise? I'm not afraid, there's no shame. So when you take those tears, don't look to see I'm alright. When you take those tears, don't look to see I'm alright. How can I tell you? How can I explain? I want your love. I need a change in me. Ba-da-ba-ba-da,
Viva!
That is a blissful sound. That's Seal and Violet. You're listening to the Good Morning Portugal radio show with me, Carl Munson. Another one of the choices of Owen Lloyd-Martin, who is my guest today on the show. Very cool to speak to him and hear his music choice. You still there, Owen?
I'm still here.
Blissful tune.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And that's for Amelia, is it, that we're playing that this morning?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyone else you want to shout out to?
Yeah, I'm going to do a big, massive shout out to my mate Steve, Steve and Stuart. They came over to visit me not long ago. Jane, who's like my little oracle back in the UK. Just everybody from the UK in particular. Thanks for the birthday wishes that I got on Wednesday. That was really nice. I actually shared my evening, did a Facebook Live, and people kept popping in, so it was really nice to do that because they keep me going. Because as I say, I'm up here by myself, so it's really nice to have that sort of interaction with the use of the good old interweb.
It's amazing, isn't it? The technology and how that brings us together.
It is. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It keeps me together. I'm trying to get my parents in Jamaica now to get themselves a Facebook account so we can converse.
Oh, lovely. That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? So you're at Arachela Farm. That's ARROCHELA Farm. That is Owen's blog. Have a look at that. Got quite a few followers on there, and I think people are just loving what you're doing and wanting to stay in touch with it.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. People have come out. I've got friends in the UK, guys that are like tree surgeons. They just want to come out and have a look and see what other different kind of plants I have here and generally give me some sort of tips as well. So I'm loving that because, I'm feeling love from people back in the UK. It's quite nice having that. Yeah, I'm sure. And so you're quite open then to people visiting, dropping in, coming to help out, documenting your plants, that sort of thing? Absolutely, yeah. And anything at all. If anybody, because I believe there are one or two few rare plants here, if anybody wants to do cuttings or, anything like that, they're very welcome to come up and have a look. If there's anything that they want to, have a little sample of, I'm very open for that. Fantastic. What a lovely offer. Okay, and I think you've got a bit of a treat for us now. So you're a bit of a wordsmith poet as well, and this is a newly composed poem you're going to share with us. Well, no, to tell you the truth, I wrote that when I was 17. Did you? I did, and it's so relevant to my life at the minute. It's still going on. That must have been lovely to have that sort of echo through in your life to come back at this point. It's been like a mantra to me, really. So I've done it. I've performed it, whether it be spoken word, whether it be in a rap form, or I've always kind of brought it out of the bag. And like I say, after my birthday the other day, one of my friends said, you should write that down and put it on something so people can see it. So it's the first time I've let anybody have a look at it, really. Oh, brilliant. So a bit of an exclusive for the Good Morning Portugal radio show as well. Yeah, why not?
Excellent. All right. I'm going to turn my mic down. Can I invite you to go somewhere a little bit less windy, if that's possible? It might not be doable where you are, and then we can hear it in its full glory, and then we will come out of that with a bit of Talvin Sing, I think, as a nice way of... Wouldn't that be the perfect combination?
It'd be brilliant. Yeah, it's a good, nice little summer tune for you just to sit out and watch everything.
I think we've got some natural reverb now, I'm hearing.
We have. I'm just walked upstairs. Yes.
Very nice. Very nice too. Okay. So, Owen, thank you so much. It's been lovely talking to you, and thank you for extending your invitation to other people. Arachella Farm is the place to look on Facebook. Get in touch with Owen that way. ARROCHELA Farm. Over to you, mate. I'll turn my mic down, so all yours, and then we'll come out of this with a bit of Talvin Sing.
Thank you. And this is from me to you with one love. There is more I want to seek out, plus I want to find. I don't want to leave my mind without a shred of a doubt. I want to travel our world and see our globe, just to see the things that we've all been told that exists and is living today, and just how we're living it, okay? Not to make our mind up, not to be confused. Aren't we sick of seeing the world being misused and abused? Now, if we're going to survive and have to take care of those that keep you alive, the material things keep you going. Obviously, it's not showing if you're lying in bed or you're going to work. You never know what might lurk around the corner, or another day that's going to change your life in a different way. So get off your butt and out of that rut and do something positive. Use your initiative, creative energies flowing, growing, ready in time, and they'll be showing all the qualities that you have inside, but all of a sudden just came alive. So if there's more you want to see, make your dream a reality. Thank you.
Yeah, he's at the bit. Remix. This might be the bit of the show where the technology fights back. But the most important thing is we heard from Owen Lloyd-Martin's amazing Arachella farm. And I think we've got intermittent vibes behind. Let's see if that sorts itself out. I did want to read something to you, actually. Let's see if this will play with us or not.
Hi, I'm Joel.
I am Rui
from PracticePortuguese.com, and you're listening to the Good Morning Portugal podcast. Rui, you do it.
A radio show.
And you're listening to the Good Morning.
It's not that difficult. Oh, I'll put us on the spot now.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Relax and breathe. It's the Good Morning Portugal radio show.
And you're listening to the Good Morning Portugal radio show.
Yes!
Yay!
Thanks so much indeed, guys. That's wonderful. Very, very good. Rui and Joel from Practice Portuguese. If you want to improve your language skills, great place to start. As is Ana Pate, who I record for the Pure Portugal podcast, and her language and vocab input that we do on there every month as well. So Ana Pate and Rui and Joel, lots of resources around to help you learn to speak Portuguese, which I think we're not obliged to do, but it's a great idea, isn't it? And Owen, we're talking there about the amazing culture and community feeling basis of Portuguese culture, and it's great. It goes a long way when you try and speak the language, and I think even though people are sometimes amused or don't know what on earth I'm talking about a lot of the time, I think it does mean something to have a bit of a go. And we also have a Facebook page called Portuguese, PORTUG-ease, where we put up a word or a phrase of the day or the week or the weekend, just to add to your vocabulary if you want to have a look at that as well. You're listening to the Good Morning Portugal radio show with me, Carl Munson. Lovely to have had an technologically unimpeded connection and interview chat, really, with Owen Lloyd-Martin at Arachella Farm at Pedro Grande, up there further north in Portugal. We're drawing to a close now, and I wanted to finish by reading something to you. Obviously, there's a lovely birdsong outside. There is quite an important football match tomorrow. The England squad are taking on Sweden to go through to the highest levels. The oxygen is getting thinner, the excitement is getting greater as England work their way through this World Cup tournament. And a friend of mine, Danica Appeline, says, hate football, think it's best not to watch, that it's full of hateful people. Think again, she says. And I want to read to you her blog piece that she's written about this that might help you to reconsider another aspect. Because there's always... So, it's a real cliche to say it, but there's good and bad in everything, isn't there? And whenever I think we have... this is what Katia Lima was saying earlier on, wasn't it? A lot of people have an instant judgment about certain foods, certain traditional Portuguese foods, which you wouldn't have encountered necessarily, and you might have a visceral and immediate reaction. And I think whenever we have a visceral and immediate reaction, or an angry one, or we get triggered, that's the current word, isn't it, in use? Whenever we get triggered, it's probably... there's something to learn, as well as us, maybe being right, if you like, with bunny ears, being right. If we are so kind of angry or upset about something, there might be something in there for us to learn as well. So Michael Heron, our news, culture and sport guy, was saying that football is a great way in Portugal to connect with people because there is such a love of the sport here. Here's another view from Danica. You may actually be missing seeing the appearance of an angel, she says, who is not just changing football from the inside, but is inspiring football fans and leaders to think about how to behave in kinder, more society-loving ways. This is Gareth Southgate, and there are some pictures of Gareth on her blog. You may remember him as the player who missed the crucial penalty in Euro 96 when we lost to Germany. Some, even spiritual people, still haven't forgiven him. Really? But here is what he's doing that is amazing and makes me think he is a light worker, says Danica. He's only been England manager since December 2016. One of the first things he did was to get rid of Wayne Rooney, who was England's captain. I don't know what Southgate's reasons were, but this decision is a very important one. This is significant, continues Danica. Wayne Rooney represented some of the things about football that people have come to dislike. Even though a top goal scorer, he sometimes presented himself as arrogant, a party animal, not always in the nicest of ways. Whilst we are all human, he did represent celebrity football, ego-driven football. Gareth Southgate was never into all of that. He didn't do the parties, he was a family man, avoided all the celebrity life. As well as getting rid of Wayne Rooney, I can say Wayne Rooney there, he then chose instead humble players like he is. Players who aren't so interested in the celebrity lifestyle, but who are passionate about teamwork, about working together, supporting one another, realising no one person is more important than anyone else. Players that represent the whole of the UK. It's not only a humble team, it's a diverse team. Gareth Southgate has been clearing out the ego in football. Another thing he's doing is loving his players. When you look at how he speaks to them and treats them, he treats them not as prize racehorses there to make him money, but as a loving father would treat a child, with kindness, supportiveness, but also drawing clear boundaries as and when they need drawing. But here are other examples that I think are incredible. This is Danica's blog that I'm reading from, Danica Appeline. He has taken his public failure and turned it into something transformative for others that helps them. That is the hero's journey in action. One of the England players, Springer, was due the birth of his third daughter this week, so Gareth Southgate sent him home for the birth, saying, sometimes there are even more important things than football. And finally, he did this. On Tuesday, when Colombia's Matías Uribe, and forgive my pronunciation there, missed his penalty shoot that led to England winning, Gareth Southgate went up to console him, emanating kindness and compassion, understanding that even though they just opposed Colombia, Gareth understood what Uribe was going through, and the divisions of competitive sport melted away as he reached out to him as a fellow human being. This is the new masculine in action, says Danica. So, do you still think football is to be avoided? Then you might be missing out. You're missing seeing what happens when a true leader appears, a man of integrity, kindness, compassion, appears in a culture that hasn't had much of it. And the impact of this on ordinary people is amazing. A new hashtag has appeared. Gareth Southgate Would. Hashtag Gareth Southgate Would. With people saying what kind, caring, compassionate things they think Gareth Southgate would do. Like, hashtag Gareth Southgate would pop in to make sure your nan's okay while you're on holiday, get her a bit of shopping and sit with her and watch Countdown. His kindness as a leader is inspiring ordinary people to think about kindness. Imagine what would happen if we all got behind supporting him and sending him and our team all our positive vibes, and he got to have more time in the limelight as England do better and better with our support. He's also shining a light on how awful the leaders we have are and how they could act instead. Imagine if our politicians acted as Gareth Southgate does. This is a visible standard ordinary people understand that we can call them up to. This, folks, is the light shining in the dark. I personally believe he's a light worker, concludes Danica. I am a little bit in love with him, admittedly, but I genuinely believe he's an agent of change, not just in football, but in the UK, to the fabric of our society, and what a lovely thing it would be to support him, to continue to be the inspiring leader he is. Changing a culture people think couldn't be changed. He is a true hero, showing how anything is possible. And Danica Appeline, she wrote that in the last few days. Hashtag Gareth Southgate Would, hashtag Come On England, hashtag It's Coming Home. Right, thank you very much for listening to the Good Morning Portugal radio show. We're going to take a break for the summer, as is traditional in Portugal, and we're going to review how it's gone. Your feedback would be most welcome, but I think we're going to return in September now and take the next, 6 or 7 weeks off and just review things and look at how we might come back. Thank you to everybody who's taken part in what I'm thinking really is the pilot version of the Good Morning Portugal radio show. Do let me know what you've been thinking, what you might like to see in the future, if anything at all. And I'll leave you with change and a lover's holiday, which is what I wish for you in these next few weeks. Do stay in touch by email if you want to get in touch with me, and stay in touch with me, Carl@carlmunson.com.